Oscar Alvarez is here. Welcome to the show. Ohio State Buckeyes 34, Wisconsin 0. Raised eyebrows 0. Shock 0. The game had different dynamics than the Iowa Hawkeyes, not the least of which was the quality of the opponent, which was significantly higher. Julian Sand, Jeremiah Smith, just an exquisitely talented and well-coached team in the Ohio State Buckeyes. Let's give the props that they deserve. That was the best team in college football we played. So you're starting off in a position where a mediocre to poor performance is a little more understandable than it was against a solid but not in any way special Iowa Hawkeyes team the week before. So we're grading down a little different curve. And as I speculated last week, whatever the victory total ends up for Wisconsin, whether it's 2 wins or 2 wins at the end of the season, Iowa was going to be the low point. I stand by that. So let's unwind a little bit about this game. Most of us saw it, or at least portions of it. I think that some guys, this is kind of the predominant theme. By the way, sorry, I'll stop myself. Please like and subscribe. It helps me stay ahead of the PJ Fleck Thong show. Some old spring break coverage from back in the 90s of old Peter Jen Fleck. So that's much appreciated. But takeaways from today. There were some people on the Wisconsin Badgers, especially on the defensive side of the ball, who came with fire and played with fire the entire game. Yeah, you heard me. There were several dudes who didn't quit. That was a big concern. And that was going to be kind of the bullseye of what we're going to be looking at in this game. Who's quitting, who's not quitting. Some people in the game quit. And some people in this game quit. But one of my takeaways, I will say, not everything is totally negative. It's pretty close. But some guys played hard. Christian Allegro played incredibly hard. The guy he cares, guys. If all 11, or I think we're probably closer to 20 total players on that defense played as hard, because they're all not as skilled as he is, but played as hard as he does, they would have a pretty solid defense, I think. I'm saying. But yeah, some guys brought it. Some guys brought the juice, which is something. I don't want to say it's something to build on, but it's something of note. The corollary to that is several guys did not bring it. There was I don't know why I'm so reluctant to call people out. There was a defensive back early in the game, had a tight end, and it was a one-on-one, and he dove past him. He didn't want anything to do with this guy. And it's emblematic of the guys on this team that Fickell has lost. And it's probably going to edge up week by week by week, but I saw that, and I'm like, that guy, I'm just telling you, would not see another snap for me if I was coaching this team, because it was so obvious what happened. This is an agile, athletic, dead-eye kind of player, and he just laid down. Did a couple times last week, too. That would pick on anybody, but, I'm not going to lie and say I didn't see it. So there's the good and the bad as far as effort. Okay, it's notable. Let's go to some other stuff. The coaching. I posted this, I think it was 3 weeks ago, during the Michigan game, or after the Michigan game. I said, Luke Fickell looks like a coach who either knows he's being fired or knows he's not with 100% certainty. And I reposted it again today because it was the same exact thing. It was the most flaccid, risk-averse, just kind of going through the motions kind of game plan that I would say that I've never seen, that I've seen since the week before against Iowa. There's no fight, fire, vim, or vigor. he saw I did a meme that had Fickell, and it was like he would take 34-0 right now if he could, with Dr. Evil kind of welcoming him like the come to daddy thing. And that was back when it was like 17-0. It was exactly what it was. He was very content today to lose 34-0 to the best team in college football. Stay around where the line was. It's just, and you hear news, and I'm not, news breaking kind of all over message board stuff, and I'm not trying to leave anyone out who said this, but things along the lines of there's some chatter from up high in the UW system that there's talk of keeping Fickell as the plan. Yeah, no, guys. To the extent that you can show something or do some stuff in a game where maybe you beat back some of the detractors and get some more confidence in your coaching staff and your vision, there is absolutely nothing that happened today in Camp Randall that would have increased the confidence in this coaching staff or their will to win and the buy-in from the players one iota. It's just as bad. There's no hope. This team is lost. And the fact that a couple guys came out and played hard doesn't change that fact. It's bad. Bad. There were 30 minutes before the game, you could get 50-yard line seats for under $40 at Camp Randall against the number one team in the country. Yeah, I said that right. This is going to have been, from today going forward, the best attended game that the Wisconsin Badgers are going to have at home the rest of the season. This was the high point. I'd say the student section was 60% full. After a jump around, it was about 1% full. The fans have quit too, guys, and understandably so. Or pretty close. I'm saying it almost flippantly. I take no joy in this. This is, I got a little bit of a pushback from an account I respect. I don't want to name any names. It doesn't matter. But it's a very pro-Wisconsin football account, and I like the work they generally do. But we have a little bit of a difference of opinion on what the role of observers are. We're not journalists. We're observers. Their position is support them at all costs in all ways, which implies that quote unquote negative things or criticism is not warranted. Again, do it your way, man, but that is not staying true, in my opinion, to being a true Badger fan. If you are unable to criticize obvious criticisms and want better, then what are we doing here, guys? We're cheerleaders. Strap on pom-poms and go out there and start a kick line. Okay, I continue to be, I will forever be a incredibly supportive Wisconsin Badger football fan. But like I said, man, if you lost Scary Alvarez, you've lost the plot. I'm a pretty good canary in the coal mine here, and it's over, guys. And I will tell you, that is the biggest crowd that Camp Randall is going to see for the rest of the season. And just brutality. So, so we're it's a PR war at this point. We're having, and I'm sure this stuff that's going up and down the chain. These are sort of like bellwether tests that the administration is seeing how fans react to this stuff. Like things like, let's go ahead and imply that we're bringing Fickell back. Let's just kind of see how that plays out. Well, I can tell you, it landed with a sick, wet thud. It was only made worse by what happened on the Camp Randall turf today. Yeah, you didn't lose 55-0, but you could have, given the statistics and how that game went. I'm not saying that Ryan Day took it easy on his old friend, but there wasn't really a point in the game today where I saw what Ohio State was doing offensively or defensively, and I didn't think, they can pretty much do whatever they want here. And there's nothing Wisconsin can do about it. And that means your program is broken and cooked. Well, I'm not as upset, emotionally upset as I was after the Iowa game, because I expected this to be really, really bad. Let's not lose the plot here, folks. We don't belong on the same field as Ohio State right now. And pretty much any team in the Big Ten would have come in here and beat us today. Northwestern would have beat us today. UCLA would have beat us today. Okay? Purdue would have beat us today. We're the worst team in the conference. And there's no reason to think it's going to get any better. And I'm heartsick saying it. Tough stuff. Because as I said at the outset, there are kids in this team who still care. And there were aspects of the offensive line, for example, who looked a little better and sometimes play against what's undoubtedly the best defense we're going to play by a wide margin this year. But it has to come together, guys. And you know, 34-0 doesn't sound as bad as 70-0, but it was a manhandling, a bludgeoning, a gridiron obliteration. And there's nothing I saw today that would lead me to think for 1 second that Wisconsin is going to sniff another win this season. So we're going to be 2-10 in all likelihood. And then things are going to get interesting, if it hasn't already. Which segues me, as I wind down here, into the last thing, Luke Fickell. I said it, should have been fired after the Iowa game. I'll say it again, he should be fired tonight. Nothing controversial here, kids. It's being painted that way, but it isn't. If you are at your job, whatever it is, insurance, law, selling cars, scooping up ice cream, sweeping streets, driving a bus, and you are analogously as bad at what you do as this team is now under Luke Fickell, in everything but game day graphics and squat fests, you would be relieved of your duties. And he ain't making almost $8 million a year. So I'm not going to use my platform to demand that someone gets fired. That's, again, above my pay grade and not my call. But I'm telling you, as a Wisconsin fan who spends dollars on the team, puts eyeballs on the screen, you are going to lose people, and a lot of them, every single week you retain this guy. I know Ryan Herrings has some thoughts on this, a guy I respect a lot. He's made a pretty good case for why next week at Oregon, after the Oregon obliteration, would be the perfect time. Sending us an assistant who has no chance of actually being the coach in to face Ohio State and Oregon is probably cruel and unusual punishment. I can get behind that. So I'm not going to be freaking out if Wisconsin hasn't fired someone by Monday. But if we are being honest, you can weather balloon this stuff all you want. If you're at the top of the Wisconsin food chain, but the results are not going to change. The fan base, the boosters, and probably the players, although Lab will transfer anyway. They see the writing on the wall, and you can ignore it or you can pretend it's not there, but it most definitely is. It's over, kids. It's over. I mean, is it going to take 30,000 fans at the Washington game, or half the crowd being Illini fans when we play Illinois, to drive that home? Maybe, but it's not going to. It's not going to sneak up on anyone. It's going to be loud, pulsing. It's going to fall 10,000 feet from the sky and land on your face and start wiggling. And we are where we are. And I'm sorry we are there. Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments on the Ohio State game, on the future, Fickell's future, team's future. recruiting, anything like that. I always enjoy engaging in the YouTube comments. And Scary is out.